Engaged couples are on Instagram. It's just a fact. They're scrolling inspiration, they're saving posts, they're stalking vendors, and they're basically making their entire shortlist before they ever fill out a contact form. But knowing that Instagram matters and actually using it in a way that brings you real inquiries, those are two completely different things. So today I want to show you how to actually make Instagram work for your wedding business and in a way that doesn't drive you up the wall. In case we're meeting for the first time, hi, my name is Taylor. I'm a small business marketing consultant and one of the co-founders of NG, which is the only project management tool that brings planning and doing your marketing together. So first, let's talk about what you're really selling on Instagram, because it's not just what you'd put into a proposal that you send to an inquiry. What you're selling is a feeling, calm, confident, someone that's got this handled. You're selling a version of a couple's style that they want to see actually come to life, and you're actually selling a relationship, like your personality, your communication style, your entire approach to the wedding planning process. Instagram is where your visual brand, your voice, and your proof that you've done this all before come together to either attract or repel the right couples. And I want to be clear, repelling the wrong ones is a win too, because those are the couples that are going to ghost you. So the mindset shift that I want you to make before anything else is to stop thinking, I'll post when I have new photos to share or when I'm inspired, and start thinking, I'm using Instagram to show off my expertise, my approach, and my personality. Because that shift alone will change how you show up and how well the time that you're putting into this marketing channel actually converts. But before we talk about content, let's talk about your Instagram bio and make sure that it's doing its job, because it is a one glance pitch to any newly engaged couple who's found you that tells them whether or not they are in the right place. And a strong Instagram bio for wedding pros does four things. It says who you serve, it says what you do, it says where you work, and it gives them a clear next step. So instead of something like creating magic and the lover of coffee and dogs and peonies, which is adorable but really tells me nothing, try something like a wedding photographer for laid-back, adventurous couples in Austin, Texas. Elopements and full weddings, start your exploring. And make sure to make your link actually do the work, right? Use it to send people to a Start Here page or a hub where someone can view your services and your galleries and your contact form, or maybe even send them straight to your contact form. The point here is to get them and keep them on your site, not on a third-party page that you don't own and can't really track. And one more thing, I really encourage you to use the name field of your Instagram profile strategically. Like Luna Events with the straight up bar wedding planner is going to work a lot harder for you than just Luna Events. Okay, so let's talk about what you can actually post on Instagram as a wedding pro. Because if all you're sharing are highlights with captions that are like, I loved this day so much, you're not giving couples a strong reason to book you over someone else that pops into their feed. So think of your content like a well-designed wedding where every element has a purpose. And here are things that you can use regularly in your content. The first type of content is a storytelling carousel. Like instead of a random set of pretty photos, pick a sequence that actually tells some sort of visual story and start with a strong hook in your caption, like how we turned rain panic into the coziest ceremony of the year, and walk through the challenge and your approach and the outcome. And then you can end it with a soft call to action, because this helps couples understand that not just actually what you do, but how you think about solving problems that inevitably show up in the wedding planning process. And that's where you show them that you're really worth hiring. The next type of content everybody's favorite, Reels. But no, you don't have to dance or lip sync to trending audio. You just need a first line that makes your ideal client stop scrolling. Things like, the one thing that ruins more weddings than rain ever will, right? That's unexpected. Or what's actually happening behind the scenes 30 minutes before you walk down the aisle. And you can pair that with footage you already have, setup shots, behind the scenes snippets, or you can do a talking head reel. The next type of content is social proof, because your couples are reading reviews, right? They are on Google, on marketplaces, on your website when they find it. But you can also use them on Instagram. So you can screenshot a Google review and turn it into a story. So easy. Or you can pair a testimonial with photos from that wedding. You can create a Instagram story highlight where you're sharing and saving some of these pieces of social proof. But in the end, social proof reassures a couple that other people have trusted you and that they had a great experience, which makes it much easier for them to emotionally start to do the same. The last type of content that I wanted to talk about today is process-driven content. And this is the one that most wedding pros actually skip because they think it's boring, but people actually love seeing how the sausage is made. So it's not boring to the couples who are, taking the time to learn about you. So explaining to couples how things work after inquiry, right? Like what in a detailed way is included in your packages? How do you communicate? How is the flow of things going to go? All of that helps them understand how you might work together. And it also helps filter out the couples who are not a great fit, because those folks will look at that process content and go, they're maybe not right for me, which again is a good thing, because those are the couples that if they did inquire would eventually end up ghosting you. So now let's talk about how to actually keep up with this when you're in the middle of wedding season and running on 3 hours of sleep after an 18-hour day. So the first thing that I want to talk about is batching your content instead of posting on the fly every time you decide, hey, I'm going to post today. So what I really advise you to do is carve out an hour or two once a week, maybe twice a month, and pick your photos, record your clips, pick your B-roll, draft your captions, and schedule it. Ship it, it's done, right? Sorry, I just used a very startup term, ship it. The second thing that you can do is reuse what you already have. That long email that you sent to a client explaining your process, you can turn that into a carousel and a caption. And the detailed description that you have on your website about your services, that's a 3-reel series. And please, 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 this is the last thing I'm going to mention here, show your face occasionally, because your couples are hiring a person. They're not hiring a logo. So a quick video of you on site, a behind the scenes moment, during a planning meeting, even just a headshot of yourself or the team with a short reflection in the caption, it goes a long way. And don't forget, at the end of the day, that engagement is important here. So spend a few minutes every day, maybe you bulk it together and it's once a week, where you're going in and you are proactively commenting on other people's content. You're making sure that all the DMs in your inbox are replied to. You're replying to comments, right? You're leaving thoughtful comments on other people's stuff, right? Because that human connection builds relationships in a way that just posting alone never will. So now to the question that I get from every single wedding pro that I ever talk to, and that's, how often, Taylor, do I actually need to post on Instagram? And no, you do not need to post on Instagram every single day, because for most wedding pros, 1 to 2 feed posts a week is completely realistic, even if you are in a busy season, because you can schedule it all. But 3 to 4 times a week is good if you have more capacity to do that. But you also want to be on stories a couple times a week, even if it's just like a quick behind the scenes moment. The key in answering this question for yourself, because the answer is different for every wedding pro, is choosing a base schedule that you can actually maintain during even your busiest months. And I know that that's not posting every single day, because consistency always beats intensity. So posting twice a week for months will outperform this manic streak of daily posts where it's eventually followed by total silence. So now I've popped into one of my demo NG accounts because I am really excited to show you how you could use NG to plan your Instagram posts, to draft your Instagram posts, and to schedule your Instagram posts. And so it's very, very simple. And in this sort of example, let's say when I sit down every month to sort of think about, okay, like what's happening with my marketing, I've got this content planning day. So this is my reminder that every month I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do my future self a favor, and I'm going to at least like set the plan so that when it comes time to do it, right? I've also got this every other week I need to schedule social media content. When it comes to those days, I can just sit down and get to the work. So the way that I like to go about this is by starting with dropping drafts of Instagram posts on the days that I want them to go live. So let's say I'm planning out the next few weeks and I post content on my feed on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that now is done. And then what I can do while I'm planning stuff out is I can get ideas from NG, right? NG can generate ideas that make sense for my wedding business, right? Regardless of whether you're a venue, a planner, a photographer, etc. And I could use that if my brain is like especially mush that day. Or I can type in topics here, right? Like let's say I want to talk about Ashley and Sarah's wedding here. And then this one is going to be about what? Sunset ceremony timelines. And so I can go through and I can drop in my topics. And the other cool thing is that if you found a piece of content on Instagram that you really loved, you can copy the URL from that and drop it in here as well, so that again, future self knows like, hey, this is an example of a reel that I wanted to create for myself. So the way that I work is I go through and I do the topics, then I come back and I leave myself notes, like what specifically about Ashley and Sarah's wedding do I want to talk about in this post, right? Type it in here. Then if I'm just doing the planning stuff, I can walk away from it, because then the next day when it's, hey, now Taylor, you need to sit down and actually create and schedule this content, I know exactly where I need to start. So I can come into this post, I can look at what past me said, like, hey, this is what you're going to be creating. And then I can write the caption from scratch, or I can use NG's AI copywriter to draft the caption for me, which, let's see what it writes for Ashley and Sarah's wedding, right? I didn't give it any context, but so it's just gonna make something up. But the point is you can see how quickly you can get a base draft of a caption so that then you can come in here and really make it your own. Then all I need to do is upload the media, and I can pick from stuff that I've already uploaded in the past. I can pick from my computer. I can import things directly from Canva, because that is a really great integration that NG has. But let's just pick a random video that I've got in here and say that I'm posting a reel about this. So what I can do is I can preview my feed here, but I also now can add audio to my reels so that when I'm scheduling them, they're going out. Now, the asterisk on this is Meta only opened up their audio library to include music and audio that does not have copyright issues, and so not everything is going to show here. And as I am now seeing, my Instagram connection is expired, so I can't exactly see the list, but I can search for things, I can preview the sounds, I can add them to the reel, and then it will, when it's scheduled and posted, it'll actually include that audio. So let's say this looks good, and I'm like, This actually, it's not good because for wedding professionals, you should always tag the location and then throw in some collaborators because that's always good as well. But once I get to the point where I'm like, this looks great, then I just hit schedule and then it's going to automatically post on September 1st at 10 a.m., making sure that my account is actually connected. So that's how you can use NG to plan your social media content, draft it, and schedule it, even with Instagram audio, all with NG's social media scheduler. Here's the thing that I want you to take away from all of this. You're not trying to become Instagram famous. You're trying to book couples and build trust with them. So Instagram is here to support your marketing, not become your entire marketing job. And with the right content strategy and the right system behind it, you can show up consistently on Instagram and put yourself in front of the ideal engaged couples who are looking for a pro like you all the time without having to all the time be on your phone. And if you want help making all of this happen, NG was built exactly for this. It's a marketing project management tool for wedding pros who need to make sure that their marketing gets done. And you can start a free 14-day trial at ng.co, and I've also got the link in the video description. And if this was helpful, give it a like and drop a comment. And I'm curious to know, are you currently using Instagram consistently for your wedding business? Or is it something that you're still trying to figure out how to show up on a regular basis on? I'd love to know and then help you figure out a way to make sure that you are regularly putting your wedding business in front of those couples who would be silly not to hire you.